And we're live, according to the big board. Well. Hi, if you're watching this back later, this is special time, just you and me. No one's joining the stream yet. I try to remember to set up a live stream so it sends out a notification ahead of time that I'm going to be going live, but I didn't do that tonight. I was preoccupied with other things, so that always means somewhat of a delay until people join the live chat. But hey, that's okay. That just means special time for anyone watching it back, knowing that no one actually saw that live, but everyone's here. Comrade Leslow, hello. Philosopher, never got your aircon fixed, not handling the heat wave. That's not good. And hey there, Luke, how's it going? Yes, the majority of Australia is getting heat wave conditions. Hasn't really hit Melbourne yet. Thursday and Friday are going to be around 40 Celsius. Luke, you're saying Adelaide's predicted for 45 on Thursday. For those in Fahrenheit world, those temperatures are around 100 Fahrenheit and above. And huge swaths of the country are experiencing that. Large areas are getting multiple days in a row of temperature that is not friendly to human life, like 48 Celsius and above. I got a little converter. I just want to double check temperature. 40. Oh no, wait. Celsius. 48. Done. Yeah, that's like 120 Fahrenheit. So, yeah, Comrade Lazarus, 40 Celsius where you are. Where are you at the moment? Oh, and hello, Musical Aviator. I don't think I said hello to you. Hello. Yeah, look, Melbourne normally gets, if it's hot in Adelaide, Melbourne normally gets it at either the same time or a day later. Looking at the predictions, tomorrow is quite mild. Tomorrow is cooler than today was. Tomorrow's only meant to reach a maximum of 25 Celsius, which is an absolute dream. But then Thursday and Friday are both around 40, possibly above. Hey, how's it going, Bunny and Rambling Johnny? I'll come out later. You're 40 Fahrenheit. Okay. So if you're 40 Fahrenheit, I've got a little converter. Okay, that's just above freezing. That's like 5 Celsius. Good Lord, that's very different. Rambling Johnny. Are you seriously like minus 28 in Quebec? I know Canada does that crazy thing where it goes minus 20, minus 30, minus 40 Celsius. I don't think anywhere in Australia does that, not even in the mountains where we get snow. But yes, we are. A significant majority of the country is going to be around the 40 Celsius mark the next couple of days. Even Tasmania, a little island to the south, which is usually the coolest, they're having big problems with heat, and they've got out of control bushfires happening, which is not good. It is very hot, Mitchell, yes. Oh gosh, Adelaide, Catherine, you do want to type because you walked around the block in the Adelaide heat, yes. Oh dear. What's that, music over? The American aviation sector is displaying TAF, META, and ATIS weather forecasts in Celsius. Okay, they want less confusion, I guess. Rambling Johnny, get minus 37 in some places. That's wild. And yes, Comrade Lazo, yes. Global warming is going to kill us all. And summer's a good time to be reminded. And hello, Miss Foxification. My God, I just noticed the global warming deniers are still doing one of the lamest denial tactics of when there's somewhere where it's winter, they go, but it's cold. How can there be global warming if it's cold today in winter? And, you know, in their defense, every single peer-reviewed scientific study into climate change has a disclaimer at the start that says, if it's ever cold anywhere, ever again, even in the middle of winter, even if that's normal, because we refer to global warming, so if it's ever cold anywhere, ever, nothing in this is right. So, you know, they win, I guess. Big boy, yes. The adopting of Celsius is catching up with the world a little bit. Yes, philosopher, they do ignore when it's warmer than usual in winter. And in fact, in a lot of cases, while heat waves are bad and kill people and cause fires and whatnot, the rising winter temperatures are regarded by some scientists as considerably worse news than the hot summers. And hello, Raylene, and Wrestle with Deep Thought. I Wrestle with Deep Thought, Donald Trump's favourite albums were Wall. There was a rumour that, what's his name from Pink Floyd, Dave Gilmour, was going to do a performance of The Wall down on the Mexican border, you know, as a statement about what Trump's doing. Yes, Rambling Johnny, climate change is more accurate than global warming because one of the things the studies have suggested is extreme weather events will be more common. So generally, temperatures are rising. Summer temperatures are rising and winter temperatures are rising. But a corollary is unpredictable and extreme weather events, things that used to be called once in a century storms, once in a century floods, once in a century fires happening every other year. You know, it's basically the weather systems are all screwed up and we're getting more extreme events. Yes, Miss Foxification, I did read that this week that sea temperatures, ocean temperatures are rising faster than predicted. And changes in ocean temperature have all sorts of knock-on effects that are not good at all. Comrade, he'd prefer to freeze than be burned because maybe frozen people can get thawed out, but you can't do anything with ashes. That is an observation. That's true. Actually, I think it's still worldwide, more people die in winter, like freeze to death in winter, than die from heat waves in summer. I believe that's still the case. Particularly at risk are old people or people without a lot of money who don't have heating. In the next 10 years, that's likely to reverse. Heat waves are going to get worse and more people are going to die. Hey, Mark, how you going? Oh, look, what did you think of the Storm Boy movie? I am so old. I saw the original Storm Boy when it came out all those years ago. Used to always be a thing they'd show at school. The permafrost, Miss Foxification, the thing. Yes, I think no one knows exactly what the thawing permafrost will do and the release of carbon, but no one thinks it's good, and people are worried about a very rapid escalation of the negative effects climate change if the permafrost melts and releases all its carbon. Oh, Luke, you like the new one? Cool. Megaleech, you saw Glass. No spoilers in case anyone wants to see it. What was Glass like, Joe? Thumbs up? Thumbs down? That's an interesting observation, Big Boy. While we're talking about saving people, you say it's safer to cool someone down rapidly if they have heat stroke. That's safer than heating a person with hypothermia. I don't know. I'm going to take your word on that. I think the reference earlier was about actually being burned up in fires rather than heat stroke. But yeah, cool, thumbs up for Glass. Nice. Philosophy. Yes, you also remember them showing Storm Boy a lot in school. Yes. Yeah, it's one of those things that they just showed all the time. Bit of Australian culture. What was the Australian stuff they made us do at school? There was Storm Boy, Alan Marshall's I Can Jump Puddles, Caddy, all these bits of Australiana. Mitchell, do heat waves make power blackouts? Interestingly, I saw a thing one of the energy companies said about the difficulties they face on heat wave days. See, if you're in one of the areas of the world where you get ice storms, that tends to take power out just because of the weight of the ice that forms on the towers and on the wires. It just breaks them, they come down. But those can be fixed straight away. The thing the energy company was saying on heat wave days, one of the reasons the system can go down is because too many people are running aircon at the same time, overloads the system and melts down. Another one is obviously bushfires. If there's a bushfire and it gets power lines that are, burn them down. But even without bushfires, sometimes the heat wave days can be enough to make a transformer blow or make the wires melt, basically. And that is apparently a much higher risk to repair crews than if the power lines get taken out by a storm and take much longer to do. And hi, Ruka-san, you want to 1v1 in Halo? I don't think I've ever played Halo. So I've never had an Xbox. Could have been at someone else's house and played it, I guess. But I don't think I've ever played Halo, like none of the Halos. Are we talking about, yes, power outages in Adelaide is notorious for it. Isn't the Tesla batteries helping? They're supposed to be working uh, and being some help. But yes, Adelaide's notorious for unreliable power. Roxanne, I'm very much a fake gamer girl. I just do it to pick up boys, basically. I haven't done any gaming for a little while. I finished Mafia 3, God, probably in December, and haven't gamed since then. I keep meaning to go back to God of War because I never finished it. In fact, I barely started it. I reckon I'm probably not even a tenth of the way through God of War. I just haven't been in the right frame of mind to get back into gaming. I've been really tempted to get Red Dead Redemption. I'm not sure I should be spending time here. In case you didn't notice, didn't put any videos up in the last week. I just haven't been in the mood, and that kind of shits me. Which is why I wanted to do live streams tonight, because live streams are always fun. I always enjoy the conversations with everyone on the live streams, and it might get me back in a positive mood. And because there's lots of things I kind of want to do with videos, and I just haven't been motivated to do them. I've got lots of ideas, lots of plans. I was gonna, you know, or actually, if you're old school YouTube, you'll know that people used to do response videos. Now people often do reaction videos, things and whatnot. I was going to do it. There's a series I quite like on a channel called Screen Junkies. They talk about uh, film, and they have one series called Pitch Meetings, where a guy does a mock-up of pitch meetings and takes movies apart. And I was going to do a pitch meeting for the pitch meeting web series. And for weeks I was thinking of doing it. I thought I should do it. And then they did one themselves. So I was like, well, I can't fucking do it. Oh, well. Yeah. Mark, why do assholes make videos on me? They love me. They're obsessed with me. They say they hate me, but honestly, when I hate people, I don't expose myself to them. I stay away from them. Uh, uh, so the only possible explanation for all those people making those attack videos is they love me. They're obsessed with me. Ah, yes, Flustered loves pitch meeting. Yes, Catherine, he did that. I was going to do a pitch meeting on pitch meetings, and he actually did it. Whereas if I'd done it a couple of weeks ago, I would have beaten him to the punch. And now it's just too lame to do it. Mind you, when I watched it, almost all the jokes I had planned for my pitch meeting on pitch meetings were different to his. But yes. Comrade, you think Bearing's really obsessed with me? I don't know. He's only made about 6 videos about me. Is that obsession? Is it? I don't know. And oh yeah, Rukasan and Sargon, although he hasn't for a while. He did a couple years ago. Um, the I think the thing that also really ticks them off and makes them even more obsessive is I never respond, because I don't have any interest in validating them or being defined by them. I think that really bums them out. Oh yeah, I saw that one, Aussie Gun Bunny, a meme with a human apologizing to Mother Nature, and she's going, "Oh, I'm going to be fine. You're going to die." Um, uh, it's probably, look, in a worst case scenario of global warming, humanity probably wouldn't get absolutely wiped out. Just human civilization would. Like the reduction in population would probably be over 90%. Mark, you said that's a. I see. Again, I after the first one, I never even tried to watch their videos. I do remember he was big into not showing his face on the videos, but it's just like because they're always so long too. It's like, oh God, I've got better things to do with my life than watch someone say what they don't like about me. If I wanted that, I'd look in the mirror. Hey, hey, hey. No. Oh, Tendai, that was awesome. H Bomber Guy's Donkey Kong 64 stream. For those who didn't hear about it, there's a guy, he's a comedy writer. He wrote some really good series like the IT Crowd, Graham Linner. But in the last, I don't know, year or two, he's become an obsessed transphobic crank. Like he obsesses over transgender people. I don't know why he isn't capable of just saying his piece and then stepping aside, but he's been obsessing for years that, you know, transgender's not a thing, it's just a mental illness. So you can't go along with that and medicate people and give people surgery. It's a mental illness. You have to treat the mental illness. And he won't fucking shut up about it. And he pressured, there was a charity that helped trans kids that was getting some government money, like from the government lotteries in the UK. And this guy, Lenham, launched a campaign to stop that because he said, no, they're hurting kids. The kids just need help, and they're giving them drugs and getting them surgery and blah 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 blah. And he got this funding withdrawn from this charity. And so H-Bomber guy went, fuck this dude, and decided he's doing a live stream. He's going to play Donkey Kong 64 until he gets 101% completion, which is apparently really hard and takes a long time. And I think his stream went for 50 hours all up or something. Anyway, he says, I'm going to do a marathon stream. I want people to donate, and it's going to go to this charity. And apparently they ended up with over $300,000. And so it's like, Graham Linehan wouldn't shut the fuck up with his transphobic bullshit. And as a result of him not shutting the fuck up, this support group that he hates got over $300,000, which is just hilarious. Oh, yes, comrade, yes. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez was in the stream occasionally. Fuse, still there doing. John Romero, yes. Zendaya, just saw her. Chelsea Manning. Lots of... Oh, God. I thought you were laying it on a bit thick there, Mark. With and now I know why. The reference to Locust Trooper. Okay. Comrade, when do you reckon Linehan made his tweets private? Because they weren't as of yesterday. And because he's been getting called a transphobic prick for a long time, because that's what he is. He's obsessive. He's absolutely obsessive. And I said, oh, what's that? Oh, Aussie Gun Bunny, the sex education series on Netflix. What's that like? It looks funny. Gillian Anderson playing like a sex guru and trying to talk to her teenage son about sex all the time. And he's just like, oh, no fucking way. No. A friend of mine, Eva, who I used to do the videos with it. Yeah, you saw that too, Aussie Gun Bunny. That was hilarious. Eva, who I used to do videos with when she was here in Melbourne. She's moved to Queensland, but we used to do videos. We talk about dating and relationships and sex and whatnot. And she writes a lot for a few publications on sex and whatnot. She's a sex guru. She said she sat down with her daughter to start watching it. And her daughter just saw the bit about the teenager trying to cope with his mum being a sex guru, and she went, nope, too real, I'm out, forget it. Mark, I don't have a boxing match because I'm an old man and my limbs would fall apart. Miss Fox question, I've seen that. Relating mental illness as neurodivergent, like, because then you get, the other term is neuroatypical, which is actually a bit harder to say than neurodivergent. But some people talk about neurotypical and neuroatypical. And it comes, look, a big thing is, it's bizarre how much we don't know about mental illness and mental health. We know that some general things and some specific things. It improves all the time. Most people are past drilling holes in someone's head to let the bad spirits out. But yeah, we keep learning, what treatment works. What does it? Comment, do you think I could tear people up in DDR? Actually, I do better in boxing because my knees are so fucked up. I couldn't do DDR at all, Dance Dance Revolution. Intoxication. Okay, are you saying, okay, two different things. Changing terminology to say neurodivergent or neuroatypical for mental health issues is one thing. But if someone starts saying, don't get treatment, you're just a different person, I completely disagree with that. And I think in a lot of cases, saying that is quite stupid and incredibly dangerous. I mean, we see it. Mental illness kills people. Mental illness kills people. And so the idea that you shouldn't treat it is bullshit. Ms. Foxification, I'd not been exposed to people who are trying to normalize mental illness, to say it's not a thing that should be treated. And I'm glad I haven't been exposed to them, because they would make me very angry. Like anti-vaxxers, they make me very angry. But you know, it's look, see, we get even here. Oh, look, talking about mental health. Mrs. Angry is a psychologist. This is the thing. How that sounds like, I saw this and thought, this sounds like a fun thing to talk about, doesn't it? Death anxiety. What does the Psych Society, this is the Australian Psychological Society, what does the Australian Psychological Society say about death anxiety? It looks too involved. Yeah, it looks very involved. No, it looks very involved. I won't go into it. See, Ruka-san, that's when I heard the term neurodivergent, I thought it was just about things like Asperger's and whatnot. As in, for things like Asperger's and autism, there isn't treatment as such. And that's what I associated the term with it. Miss Foxification, it is Locust Trooper, okay? And I am going to kick him out if he doesn't stop being so fucking boring. I don't know, it's sad when kids get so obsessed and think they're clever, but they're not. Agro Pixie, hello, I didn't see you come in. Mr. Renazi, the whole thing with I don't know what you call it, body positivity, fat acceptance, fat positivity, a fat pride. Speaking as a fat bastard who's dieting at the moment. It's not as simple as a lot of people make it. You get people who get very angry about the idea of body positivity and fat acceptance, fat pride. You get people who are anti that and they go, no, being fat's deadly. And it's like, well, there are actually a shit ton of things that are worse for your health than being overweight or obese. And a lot of the people who really aggressively attack overweight people are guilty of the stuff that's actually far worse for the health than being overweight. So it's not as simple as a lot of people do. Byron. Oh, yeah, see, so do people want to talk about death anxiety? It's in here. Yes, Aussie Gun Bunny. Asperger's is hard to say. Oh, God, that's a depressing. Look at you. I suppose if you're dealing with psychologists, the topics are going to be depressing, but, you know, there's an article, Chronic Illness in Children and Young People. Yep. I don't want to read that. That's just going to depress me. Children's well-being after parental separation. Oh, that would have been handy for me a few years ago. But what do they say about death anxiety? No, Mark, I'm not into death. It was just an article in here. I see. I'm gonna see if I can jump to like the money shot. Cultivating death acceptance. At present, standard treatments do not usually address death anxiety directly. Okay. So there are 3 discrete types of death acceptance that have been proposed. Escape acceptance, which is embracing death as a welcome escape from the suffering and pain of one's life. Who's into Tumblr? That's very Tumblr. Approach acceptance, which is accepting death due to one's belief about the existence of a desirable afterlife. And then there's neutral acceptance, accepting death as a natural part of life and something outside one's control. I'd be that last one. I'd be that last one. They're all associated with reduced level of death fears. Neutral acceptance appears to produce the lowest levels of death anxiety. Oh, they're saying it's like similar to the Stoic approach in Greek philosophy. Okay. Now they're talking about cognitive behavioral therapy techniques to address the dread of death. Again, well, is there evidence? Well, no, there's not really any rigorous studies of the effects of treatment on death anxiety, particularly among those with mental health conditions. There are some findings. One relevant systemic review explored the effects of various preventive therapies on attitudes towards death among adults with advanced cancer. Findings suggested interventions which focused on creating meaning were most effective at ameliorating attitudes towards death. Okay, well, that's dignity therapy. Basically, they're like, oh, we haven't even really gotten into how to deal with death anxiety. Really? Oh my God. Someone just says you're a fat cow and jealous. They're like shitheads. Anyone who would say that is just a shithead. Oh yeah, Rukerson, that's what I was thinking about. People who say being fat's unhealthy while they're chain smoking, constantly drinking alcohol and dropping pingers. Yeah. Actually, Mark, I tend to agree. That's probably enough about death. Well, I've got my Pepsi, so I don't really need a cocktail at this point. But I mean, I am working on losing weight and have just started and are getting positive signs for a number of reasons. Mostly because I want to. I'd feel better if I lost weight, and also I may have my knees are really fucked at the moment, and I think if I lost 20 or 30 kilograms, I would have less stress on my knees. Ms. Voxer, you think I should make a Gillette cocktail? I did make one, God, ages ago now, that I called Male Tears because it had salted caramel vodka in it, so it was a bit salty. And it did upset people. It's hilarious. It's like, well, if someone on the internet upsets me or makes me angry or I'm pissed off, I don't go and leave comments on their stuff saying, you've upset me. I mean, I don't like what you said. And just like, why do you make yourself look stupid by coming into my social media and saying how upset with me you are? Because trust me, if I upset you, there's a 99% chance I did it on purpose. And so saying I upset you is just a win for me. It's ridiculous. Thanks, Mystery 9. Yeah, I'm just doing like the light and easy controlled diet. Just it's like calorie control, portion control diet, and it's really yummy too. It doesn't sound like I'm doing an ad. They're not paying me. I wish they were. But yes, realistically, I needed from the start to lose probably at least 30 kilograms, which I have done before in the progress of. See, here's a fun fact. If you've watched the whole of my videos on YouTube, like I'm coming up, my channel's about to be a teenager. In April, my channel will have been there for 13 years. And in that time, you would have seen me put on 25 kilograms. Yikes, 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 yikes. Oh, Raylene, I'm never going to be bony or buff. Trust me. There's always going to be something to grab onto, as the saying goes. Yes, no, I don't want to snuggle with someone that's either hard or got pointy bits. So yes. Oh, yeah, comrade. The people freaking out of the Gillette ad were hilarious. Afghan Tom, I haven't heard any details of the perpetrator of that horrific rape and murder, but fuck the guy who did it. Fucking needing to never see the light of day. Yeah, Luke, I guess you have been watching for a while. It's so funny, like, you know that 10-year challenge thing that was so popular on the socials in the last week or two? Most of them, you know, people like different adult ages, but one or two of my YouTube friends who were mid or young teens when I first knew them like 10 years ago, when they posted it, and here they are in their early 20s, which is like how I said there, and here they are as like a young teenager, like, oh my God, that's terrifying. That is, you were like a little kid when I first met you. Hey, Stella. No, Rukasan, I am not into cuddling with Pinhead. The Cenobites generally are slightly on the spiky side for me. Oh, Mystery at Night. I'm completely on board with people raising the legitimate concerns of woke corporations. All they really want is money. And the corporation in question, virtually no matter who they are, is probably guilty of doing terrible things, or their parent company is guilty of doing terrible things. So, yeah, the Gillette message in isolation, I think, is good, but I'm not about to start waving flags for Gillette, the company, because they're a company. They're not our friend. Their only concern is making money, and their conglomerate parent, Procter and Gamble, you know, a fucking super evil company, quite frankly. Although I have to admit, funnier, way funnier than woke corporations. It's like, because it's Martin Luther King Day in the US. I don't know if it's actually his birthday, but it's like a Martin Luther King Day, and all the people definitely would have hated Martin Luther King when he was alive, going on about what a great man Martin Luther King was. The funniest or worst or most bizarre was definitely the FBI and the CIA posting pro Martin Luther King things. The FBI, who spent years trying to destroy Dr. King's life, trying to destroy his family. The political personages who vilified him and called him a communist and the greatest threat to America, now just going, Martin Luther King's awesome, isn't he? It's like, yeah, woke FBI and woke CIA is some weird, fucked up shit. We're in a very strange world when the organizations that spent years trying to destroy someone, who are possibly responsible for his murder, now I go, oh, he's great, isn't he? He's great. Yeah, look, Clive Palmer texts. I think they've stopped. I'm not sure. Yes, they all the people now that he's safely dead, and saying Martin Luther King's awesome would definitely hate him if he was alive. Call him a social justice warrior. Oh my God, he was anti-capitalist. He was explicitly anti-capitalist. And there's a particular particularly good line, the letter he wrote from prison, where he talked about a whole bunch of things in there. But one in particular, all these people go, Martin Luther King was great. Look at this beautiful thing he said about love. These people were in Martin Luther King's crosshairs. He said, his letter from Birmingham prison, he said, I've come to think that the biggest threat to the Negro is not the Klan, it's the moderate white who talks about supporting our cause but condemns our actions and says we're too disruptive because they think change will come by magic, and they criticize us actively trying to get change. He's like specifically calling out these people who are saying they're huge fans of his. There's no way there would be. Like, over 2/3 of white Americans were opposed to the actions of the Freedom Riders and Martin Luther King while he was alive. Now he's safely dead. They're like, no, he's great. He was awesome. It's bullshit. A significant majority of white Americans would be opposed to Martin Luther King if he was fighting for civil rights today. It's as simple as that. I mean, you just see by the way they react to something that's far more innocuous than what King was doing, like Black Lives Matter movement, footballers taking a knee. That's so much milder than what King was doing. And you get all these people losing their tiny little fucking minds about it. Like, the hypocrisy is mind blowing. So you're seeing Clive Palmer ads on YouTube. I actually got YouTube Premium recently, so I don't get any ads, thankfully. Oh, Miss Foxification, I'm with you 100% about the whataboutism. It's just like those people, and the talk around the Gillette thing was such a good example of it. You can't say anything without someone jumping, oh, what about? It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. You're just trying to derail the conversation. I just have no time. As soon as someone comes up and they're just trying to derail a conversation, yeah, it's bad. Yes, comrade. MLK did cheat on his wife. That was how the FBI tried to ruin him, because they said they had evidence of his affairs. And it was either a letter or a tape recording they sent him that King and some others thought the FBI were trying to get him to commit suicide or something. Yeah, but the FBI loves him now. They spent years vilifying him, trying to destroy him, but they absolutely love him now. Mark, do I think American whites are annoying? I just don't know better. I think it's a mistake to make broad generalizations about any group. There are hundreds of millions of white Americans, and you can't say one thing about all of them. Not even with the people that I disagree with, the people whose positions on things I don't like. I'm not going to lump them into one basket. Mind you, if they're running around wearing red MAGA hats, I'm going to have no hesitation whatsoever in making some very pronounced judgments on them. Like those little shitheads from the Catholic school. My God, that was a weird one. That thing that happened on the weekend, where those horrible, nasty little shits from a Catholic school that fucking buses their male students to a rally where they're trying to deny women autonomy over their own bodies. It's like, and they're all running around with their fucking MAGA caps. They're filth. They're little shit bags. They are horrible little shit bags, and I'll wager their parents are shit bags, and the school is shit bags. And when you saw them being horrible, smug little fucks and taunting this Native American guy, they're obviously little shitheads. And then you got this big kickback. No, they got misrepresented. No, they fucking didn't. They're garbage. You saw what happened. There's a group. They're called Black Hebrews or Black Israelites. It's completely fair to call them a hate group. They're a weirdo fringe group, and they are hate preachers, and they were baiting these snot-nosed little MAGA kids and stuff going on. And that guy, the Native American guy, is there. He is a de-escalation technique. Just basically stood between the obnoxious kids and the obnoxious Black Israelites, and was doing the drumming and chanting. And the kids were being horrible, vile, obnoxious, bigoted, mocking, entitled little shitbags. And anyone who says otherwise is fucking apologist. Like everything that they came back with, like, oh no, it wasn't that, it was this, is a fucking lie. But yeah, the people being apologists for those little shitbags, just like, no, fuck that noise. Fuck that right off. Oh, look, that's a random one. Someone found a rat in a fast food place in Sydney. Well, you see, rats happen. The presence of a rat doesn't necessarily mean anything, it's particularly in a big city, because fucking rats are everywhere. Mice and rats are everywhere. It's just if you see a lot of them, they're really bad. If there's a lot of them, it's really bad. See, one could have what the cleanest restaurant or fast food place in the world could have a rat or a mouse walk in off the street. You can't guarantee that won't happen. If they have a rat or mouse infestation, that's another thing. I mean, I remember I was out with Mrs. Angry once, went out for dinner, place in Windsor on Chapel Street. That was quite nice and whatnot. And a mouse did wander by. And honestly, Chapel Street's the type of area, because there's train lines go back, a rat or a mouse could have come from anywhere. It was a little mouse, and it sort of walked through. It did walk through the eating area. There's this other couple, and this woman just totally freaked out, absolutely freaked out, and nothing would calm her down. Like, I don't know, the mouse disappeared. I don't know if they caught her, it disappeared, but she saw it and she freaked out. It's like, look, it's a really busy street out there. There's a train line just there. The mouse could have come from here. Calm the fuck down. And she would not calm the fuck down. And that's the thing. How long before someone blew a hole in Cheddar School? It's not going. It simply is not going to be built. The US-Mexico border is too long and too complicated to have a wall built across its entire length. I mean, one of the favourite, besides the terrain making it impossible, one of the really big challenges is there are a lot of Americans who own land that actually crosses the Mexico border. And if you're going to build a wall, their land would get annexed. The government would have to exert its authority to say, we're just taking your land. Okay, you don't get to say no. We're doing eminent domain, that's called, I think. The government just saying, we're just taking your land for what we want. And fun fact, there was, in the George Bush era, there was a plan to extend the border wall through some areas, and people fought against it. Eminent domain cases from the Bush era are still in court. Eminent, it's not a simple thing. And Trump doesn't care. Trump doesn't care that he's talking shit. Because he knows he's talking shit, and he also knows the munters who support him don't care. He just has to say stuff that is barely concealed code for, hey, racism's awesome, and they don't care that he never delivers on anything he says, because he's saying the things they want to hear about. We should build a wall because of the dirty Mexicans, because, you know, we're good, they're bad. So long as he keeps validating their bigotry, ignorance, and racism, they don't care that he's lying to their faces. They just don't care. And this is why it's ridiculous. Because like, oh, we've got to expose this. But his supporters do not care. He's validating their bigotry. He's empowering their racism. Nothing else matters. There's someone up there saying being a sexist, homophobic, transphobic, bigoted, racist piece of shit is super cool. I'm fine with it. It's a great way to be. That's all they're taking in. Absolutely. Tell you what, he did deliver cold fast food to that college basketball team. That's what does my head in. It's not like, yeah, okay, it did look funny. It looked silly. It looked ridiculous with Trump standing there with that big table of fast food in silverware. It was hilarious. It looked funny. It just looked funny. And it's not that, like some people say, it's really classist to pick on fast food. It's not saying that fast food in and of itself is bad. Just, that whole thing is ridiculous. And it would have been stone cold. Like, it would have been so hard to get all that stuff through security. It would have been cold, greasy, congealed fast food. How fucking gross. Laura, formerly Cliff Jumper, came out transgender. Congratulations to you, my friend. Yes, that does, in fact, put you in the crosshairs for bigots, which you, of course, knew. But it's, yeah, people are shit, basically. Yeah, Musically Elevator, it was in Kingsman. There's that fast food scene right out of Kingsman. Ruka-san, there are many, 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 many things wrong with a cold cheeseburger. It's gross, dude. It's absolutely gross. And that's the trouble with this. It doesn't even matter the quality. In fact, a cheap, nasty McDonald's cheeseburger might be better cold than a good quality burger, because good quality burgers, instead of being all this taste all gross, ugh, no, just congealed fast food fat is no, thank you. In fact, I had homemade burgers for dinner tonight. The young Angries cooked for me, which is nice because I'm nearly always providing the dinner. And we just did some shopping and got some ingredients, and they made homemade burgers. It's very nice. Laura, oh, right. See, if you are definitely going to wind them up if you screw them over in debates. And yeah, and then it'll go straight to the ad hominem attacks. You know, you're going to hell. Tendo, you're waiting for an Impossible Burger in Blighty? I don't know what that is. Burger and upmarket burger places became so trendy in Melbourne in the last couple of years. They're everywhere. Upmarket place, like places where the burgers cost $10 and $15. So Yeah, like my favorite one is a couple suburbs up the road I go to sometimes. They call it a truffle burger. It's a burger with like this truffle cheese and truffle oil. Oh, fuck, it's good. So good. It's called Chang's. Oh, Luke, thank you. I think my hair looks good tonight. Yeah, I did it just before coming on. Just before coming on, yes. It's I can't do a thing with it. Tendai, I think it's the lab grown meat. It will be interesting uh, if and when lab grown meat becomes a thing that is generally available. I'll definitely go for it, no question. If it tastes good, that will be the one and only well, if it tastes good and doesn't kill you, that'll be my two concerns. Yes, you're right, Raylene. Trump claimed he paid for the hamburgers himself. Uh, yeah, no. See, healthy kebabs with salad. No, see, that doesn't compute with Trump. He's it's somewhere between Trump's brain is broken and that's just how he thinks, and he was playing to his base like, yes, good old American fast food. That's what it's all about. None of this hoity-toity stuff. No vegetables for sure. Stella, your best burger was I'm trying to say that, Widgamutha burger. Roadhouse in the middle of nowhere. Okay. I like the really traditional ones, like you get from roadhouses and old school cafes and fish and chip shops, where it's just like, burger and salad. I like them. Those are good. Oh yeah, Mr. Renan, they've been talking about lab meat for years, but it has to be refined to the point where it's cheap. Uh, uh, because it's actually not cheap to produce, beef, lamb, chicken. Um, and if they perfect the lab process, it could end up being not just healthier, less cruel, better for the environment, but be cheaper. So that would be an interesting thing to see if that comes through. Widgimultha. Thank you, Stella, for sounding that out for me. I could not work out how to say that. Widgimultha. Oh, yes, aggro. I have had a mac and cheeseburger from an 8-bit pop-up. Yes, there are a few places that do burgers with a mac and cheese patty, and I have to admit to having a bit of a weakness for them. They are pretty good. But yes, normally I always want uh, bacon on a burger, like bacon and cheese and the salad stuff. But the one I was talking about, the truffle burger, doesn't have bacon. And it's my favorite. It's very yummy. Oh, misclassification. I have not eaten kangaroo meat for yonks. Last time I tried it, I didn't like it. I thought it was too gamey. Like um, the the taste was too strong. But I don't know. My tastes have changed over the years. Maybe I would go because kangaroo meat is very lean, very low fat. Um, yes. So, Comrade Zwegways did a Elvis burger, peanut butter and fried bananas. Yep, that sounds like an Elvis burger. You think it went out of business after people complaining about contracting diabetes? There was a place in Vegas that specialized in doing really outlandish burgers, like giant ones, like 5 patties and 10 rashers of bacon and half a kilogram of cheese. And I, they calling them death burgers or something. And it's just like, yeah, no health food here. Yeah, woo. And they had a guy who was basically their mascot. And he's this huge, morbidly, that was it, Megaleech, the Heart Attack Cafe. you knew what I was talking about. This huge, morbidly obese guy who was basically their mascot. And he was like, yeah, I love these burgers every day. And then that dude died from a heart attack before he was 40. It was like, yeah, you can joke all you like about it. We don't care about health, but that shit will actually kill you. Laura, you think if we put Panda on the menu, that would give him an incentive to make him breed better? Maybe, maybe. No, Megalisha, it was the heart attack cafe. That was it, definitely. Oh, Stella, you want to have the hottest burger in the world. See, I don't like hot food. Mitchell, you want to ban all fast food places, but they're so convenient. I very, very rarely go to the big chains. Not, really sort of moral thing. There's just so much choice to go. But there's some smaller chain of things. Like, what are the chains we have here? Right, there's a Mexican, a small Mexican chain here called Guzman and Gomez. I really like their stuff. There's a couple of Mexican chains here, like that are pretty good that you get in the food courts and whatnot. And there's the place that does the Palmer's schnitzel, schnitz and chips. I quite like their stuff. The schnitzel burgers or schnitzel wraps they do. I quite like their stuff. Yeah, that's one, Rick and Mad Mix. Yeah, so some of these smaller chain places I like. Like I said, there are so many of these sort of upmarket or gourmet burger places. I'm not even joking. There's like 20 in the city. You're right, Roxanne. They're good because they sell booze and the Mexican Dorito soft drinks. Yes. There's one in Stella. There's one in Western Australia called the Mexican Place. Nice. Souvlaki. They're actually, wasn't it one of those TV chefs has a little chain of souvlaki places called Jimmy Grant's. Their stuff's pretty good. Although he's a shithead and doesn't pay his staff. He's a wage thief. Oh yeah, Byron, I agree. The thing about the US and fast food as well, my first trip to the US, what I really noticed, and this was on TV, the advertising, it's kind of fun watching TV in America to see what's different because we get most American programs here, not all of them, but most of them. But things like the local news and stuff, I found was pretty funny. But the ads are different. Some are the same, but a lot are different. And I found them funny. But the most commonly advertised product in the US was fast food, chain restaurants. Every second ad was for fast food. And I shit you not, I'm pretty sure the second most common ad I saw was for antacids, stuff for upset tummies because you're eating that shit. Oh, that's not a screen reflection. I think that's a neighbor's light. Yeah, that's a neighbor's window. Neighbor has a 2-story house out there. That's actually a neighbor's window. I reckon, yeah, I reckon the most common ad in the US was fast food, and the second most common was antacids. And it's just, dude, if you had less of the first, you'd need less of the second, quite honestly. I reckon there's a Thai place in America called Another Bloody Thai Place. The Thai places in Newtown were like having a competition for puns on the name. There was the bow tie and the Titanic, and I think it was actually one called Timey Kangaroo Down Sport. So it's like King Street Thai places have a competition for who can come up with a weird pun in the name Thai. Turd flinging Lima. Hello. Afghan, you had the honor of being invited to a traditional dugong green turtle hunt, and you wrestled them. Okay. Sure. Mr. 89. Yeah, I tell you the thing with guns in the US. I mean, I was half joking, but my first trip to the US, I went to Disneyland, and the crowds freaked me out, and I started thinking, I know why everyone here wants a gun. I don't like these people. If I had a gun, I'd just be waving it around saying, stay the fuck away from me. You're all really fucking weird. Just keep your fucking distance, okay? Just do. Yes, Rickson, there are sequels to existing Thai restaurants too. Yes. Luke, I will not use Uber Eats or those other meal delivery places. A, too lazy. B, they screw over the delivery people too much. And if I'm going to get some takeaway, I'll go get it myself. Comrade, your neighbor has a 50 cal. I did go there with my ex. She had a lot of family there. And the only gun I saw, one of her uncles in LA, he showed us his gun. It was a Beretta 9mm. He had 2 clips for, I think it was like 12 rounds in a clip, and he had hollow point ammunition in the clips. So it was a really dangerous gun. And he did show it off. I didn't play with it, but he said, oh, yeah, it's like a cop friend of his had recommended. So he had a semi-automatic Beretta 9mm. That was the only gun I saw when I was in the US. I wasn't seeking them out at all. Ha! Oh no, Big Leach, friend of yours ordered Uber Eats and they stole a package that was at a door, but he got caught on a security camera. Ah, well, there you go. Mr. and I, a 50 cal is a big fuck off rifle that takes shells about this big and shoot them several miles and can punch holes through a fucking wall. A 50 cal is an incredibly serious piece of hardware. Yes, I agree, Ms. Foxification. We joke about our wildlife, but it's far less dangerous than American cops or American public with their guns. Actually, and even wildlife. So fucking every time I see someone posting a photo where there's a fucking mountain lion in their backyard or a bear in their backyard, I feel far happier with our wildlife, our snakes and our spiders and crocodiles and whatnot, than fucking mountain lions and bears. No, fuck that. Every time I see one of those pictures of someone's got like a mountain lion or a bear outside the house, I'm like, no. So you get vouchers for like Uber Eats. You're in town with 200 people. No, it's not very useful, is it? Yeah, look, you're right. The worst we get is a kangaroo in our backyard. Not really that dangerous. Um, Although, oh my God, I mean, you're more at risk of a kangaroo like hitting it when you're driving and that causing a serious accident, because if you hit kangaroo at speed, that does a lot of damage. I remember I grew up in the country, and at one time I was living in Sydney with my girlfriend, but she was from Wagga Wagga, which is in the country in New South Wales. And one time when we went to visit her family, the local paper had this picture on the front page. The dude had been driving his ute out on the highways. He's going about 100 kilometers an hour, and he hit a kangaroo. And just the angle he hit it at, he clipped it, and it came, instead of going under the car or going to the side, it sort of went over the bonnet, and it speared through the windshield and went straight through the windshield and speared straight through the passenger seat. Like it pierced the passenger seat. He was the only one in the car, Like if it had been like a foot to the right, it would have gone straight through him. If he'd had a passenger, it would have gone straight through him. And I mean, honestly, I think on the scale of embarrassing things, embarrassing ways to die, like no one's going to think it's cool if you died by being impaled by a kangaroo. People aren't going to take that seriously. That's not a cool way to die. That's an embarrassing way to die, being impaled by a kangaroo. If they had, I saw this thing, like, this kangaroo came straight through the windshield and its head went straight through the passenger seat, was sticking out the back of the passenger seat. If there'd been a person, that would have gone straight through. And the passenger would have been dead. Yeah, yes, Laura, there's a very old video of mine that I did of a true story, the ninja kangaroo that jumped through a window and attacked a couple in bed. Now, what it was very scared, but yeah, it actually smashed through a bedroom window in a house, and it was freaked out and was pinging all over the place. And the people in the bedroom got a deranged kangaroo jumping on them and lashing out and whatnot. Very, very scary experience. And yes, they do have their scary, flexy penises. I have a video showing you that kangaroos have weird penises. That, you know, they're like red rocket lipsticks, like a dog, except it's really twisty. I've got actual video up on YouTube of graphic kangaroo penis video, because that's the sort of thing you do in Australia, quite honestly. I didn't notice everyone talking about cassowaries, which are scary as fuck. They are velociraptors. They are dinosaur murder birds. They are clearly prehistoric, and they have a fucking bone on their head and big ass claws. Their claws look just like the velociraptors in the Jurassic Park movies. They are prehistoric murder birds, and they are not to be messed with. Ruku-san, I don't know that there's a lot of dick on my channel. There's some dick on my channel. Yes, the dick sign, for those who don't know, there's a couple videos and they're a couple years apart, because there was a Dick Smith store. There's no such thing as a Dick Smith store anymore. I think it exists online. But there's a Dick Smith store in the city, and part of the lighting on their sign went out, so it just said Dick, and they didn't repair it because they thought it was funny. They just had this big sign saying Dick on their store. And I think I've got two videos that are about 2 years apart, and I think they're both after YouTube meetups. So I think I'm probably drunk in both of them, going, oh my God, look at the big sign, there's Dick. Here's where we come for Dick. Yes, Megalich, I think you're right. Kogan bought the right to trade online under the name Dick Smith, I think, because he thought there was some, you know, like mental real estate. All right, I'm gonna get some ice baby. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, my knees. Did I mention my knees were fucked? Because they are. Oh. Oops, ice. No, I haven't had in ages. I haven't had this in ages. Right, I can have this. And I'm gonna get some lemonade. Okay. Oh. Yeah, look, we didn't meet at Dick. We were walking around at night and we saw the Dick sign. TFL, hello. Lemonade. Yeah. Yes, Luke, in Adelaide you meet at the balls. The Rundle balls. Big shiny balls. Oh, that's a pretty colour. It's going to taste. Oh no, that's the wrong lid. Laura, how's Azy? I think he's okay. I haven't heard from him for a little while. Need to catch up with him. We had a couple of plans of things we were going to do. Oh my God! Look at that color. Look what it looks like on camera. Oh yeah, that's good. The red. There's the effect that absinthe has when you add it to another liquid. It's called lushy. Goes really cloudy. TFL, I don't even know what day the public holiday's on. Is it Friday? Is the public holiday Friday or Monday? Because Australia Day is on Saturdays. Stella, this is yeah, a nice tall absinthe. Absinthe purists would hate me mixing it like that. Huh? Oh, that's good. For those who don't know, absinthe tastes like licorice, basically. It's very herby, but the dominant herb is wormwood, which is like aniseed flavor. So this is like red licorice I'm drinking here. TFL Monday's off. Thank you. I should have looked it up. Yeah. Comrade, you know, I've developed quite a taste for absinthe. I tell you what, it's good in cocktails because you only have to put a very little bit in, and it's such a strong flavor. The flavor comes through, and if you just put a little bit in with other stuff, it doesn't overpower the other stuff, but it adds another layer to it. Mark, you know, I've never watched an Isaac Butterfield video, but I figure just from the video titles and the way he postures, I wouldn't like him. But I've never actually watched one of his videos. Yes, comrade, I've read that Nazi link to Fanta, which is super weird. TFL, I'm hoping someone would have told me before Monday, like it would come up in conversation. It would come up in conversation that someone would go, oh, it's cool, long weekend this weekend. I'd go, oh, cool, 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 cool. Now I know. I would hope someone would tell me. I see. But yes. Yeah, I don't mind a long weekend. And we get to listen to Triple J's 100 on the weekend. So it's all good. Mark, how did the Nazis get created? Interestingly, we just passed the 100th anniversary of what could be regarded as the founding of the Nazi Party. There's a group that was called the German Workers' Party, which eventually became the National Socialist Party that Hitler took over. I think generally why people feel the Nazis rose to power is there was an undercurrent in Germany that they'd been fucked over by the rest of the world. There'd been the anti-Semitism, the blaming the Jews for everything since like the 19th century. I mean, in Europe it had gone on for centuries, but Germany in particular, I've forgotten his name, but I did read about one guy who almost rose to power in the late 19th century, and he would have been like Hitler. It was all on anti-Semitism and Aryan race type thing, but for one reason or another, it didn't work out for him. And then, of course, Germany got smashed in World War One, and there was a lot of resentment. They felt like the rest of Europe fucked them over after the First World War with reparations and whatnot, and they thought they had been humiliated by the deal with the armistice, and the opportunity for a demagogue to come up was there. So I think Tony Abbott was a Nazi lover. I think Tony Abbott is a racist. I think Tony Abbott is an authoritarian. I think Tony Abbott is a misogynist. Not a Nazi lover, though. but he's an arch conservative, and he is a piece of shit. I just saw someone talking about the Isaac Butterfield, Mr. Nine. Butterfield thinks he's funny, does he? Oh, okay, cool. I saw the question about the square mustache. It's the thing that I've always thought was funny about Hitler. Because Charlie Chaplin had the square mustache before Hitler. But you think about it, Hitler ruined the mustache, that little square mustache, that sweeping fringe, the name Adolf, and the name Hitler. Like, you don't want to be called Adolf. You don't want to be called Hitler. You don't want to have people saying you've got a Hitler hairstyle. You don't want people saying you've a Hitler mustache. And you look at Stalin, who's a piece of shit. You don't really want to be called Stalin. Stalin really only ruined the surname Stalin. He didn't ruin Joseph. No one cares if you're called Joseph. No one cares if you have a big bushy mustache like Stalin. No one cares if you have a hairstyle like Stalin. It's not even that distinctive. So Stalin just ruined the name Stalin, which is not fair if that's your name, really. But Hitler ruined the little square mustache, the sweeping fringe, the name Adolf, and the name Hitler. So he's 4 times worse than Stalin. By that unassailable logic. That logic is unassailable. You could not possibly find any flaw in it. Hitler was 4 times worse than Stalin. Ah, yes, you're right, TFO. The swastika is still a symbol in Eastern religions. Outdated farm equipment. You heard Charlie Chaplin was a pedo. I have not heard that. I also do not know an enormous amount about Charlie Chaplin, but that is not something I've heard. Megalith's the salute. Yeah, because that was called a Roman salute. And the Nazis commandeered it, so you can't really do that. Yeah, Laura, interesting observation. The square mustache was somewhat popular before World War II. Much less popular after World War II. Ruku said, it's Mussolini. Yeah, okay. All Mussolini ruined was the name Mussolini. You don't really want to be called Mussolini. I don't think he had hair. He didn't have a mustache. God, what was Mussolini's? Benito. I don't think anyone's really gonna worry if your name's Benito. Mark, do I reckon Tony Abbott would murder people? I don't really think so, no. I mean, I don't like him. I think he's an awful person. But I've never really figured him as, you know, a Hannibal Lecter type, honestly. Oh, that's right, Megaleech. The Iron Cross and the swastika, he ruined those too. Here's Mr. Foxification. When Abbott was against marriage equality, even though he has his lesbian sister, how shit must have Christmas at the Abbott household been? Also, because clearly he's alienated his wife and daughters, because they know he was banging Peter Credlin. They know he was banging Peter Credlin, honestly. So, yeah. Oh my God, Stella. Oh my God, that's hilarious. You were a home computer repair person and you rocked up to a house, freaked out that they had a swastika above the doorbell. Luckily, they were Hindus. Oh my God, that's bizarre. That is, oh, TFL, you've hit on a winner there, the Abbott-proof fence. Australia's tried a rabbit-proof fence. Now we want an Abbott-proof. He's getting challenged in his seat at the next election. The Liberals and the Nationals at the next election are in shitloads of trouble because there's a whole bunch of seats they're going to lose to Labor. Like, they're probably going to lose at least 20 seats to Labor, but they are also going to face challenges in a lot of safe Conservative seats because conservative independents are going to run against them and say, no, the Liberal Party's fucked, the National Party's fucked, they don't represent people anymore. Trust me, I'm a local independent conservative. They are going to lose a bunch of seats to conservative independents. They are facing the very real possibility of having so few seats at the next election that it's embarrassing. For what I think of Clive Palmer, like the vast majority of Australians, I think Clive Palmer's a piece of shit. Yes, Afghan Tom. The Gillard government did not support marriage equality, even when one of their most senior members was Penny Wong, who is a lesbian. And that is a great example of how fucked politics is. And you get people in politics saying really dumb, basically self-hating shit all the time in politics because they have to toe the party line. The whole thing with the Gillard government not supporting marriage equality, I honestly reckon it was just a cynical power thing. They just went like, we're under attack on too many fronts at the moment. We can't open another front. So we're going to throw the gays under the bus. I mean, the concept, anyone saying like, Gillard was against marriage equality, for God's sake, she was an atheist who was not married, chose not to have children. She shacked up with her dude. She had no moral objection to marriage equality. They just did a points thing like, we're already under attack on too many things. We can't afford another avenue of attack. So we're not going to do marriage equality. So sorry, Penny, you now have to carry water on this and say that you're okay with our policy that says you don't deserve basic rights, which she did, which is just a classic example of how shit politics is. One of the many reasons I won't go into politics, because it makes people debase themselves. Certainly wouldn't go into politics as part of a major party, because you end up having to support absolute bullshit to toe the party line, and that's just soul destroying. But yeah, I think the Gillard government just threw the gays under the bus because it's like, better you than us, basically. Mark, I reckon Shorten would last as PM. Probably a while, because I am not a Shorten fan. I've said this repeatedly. I don't think he deserves to be Labor leader. I don't think he deserves to be Prime Minister, but he's going to be probably well. Afghan Tom, get fucked, okay? You've been talking shit non-stop. Gillard's not a homophobe. Wong's a lesbian, not a homophobe. You brain-dead, shit-eating fuckwit. You've been pushing ridiculous right-wing troll talking points the whole time you've been here, and I've just been ignoring you, and I'm now sick of you. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, comrade. Yes, Steve King, an obvious white supremacist, obvious deeply racist person. And away we go. No, that's the same person who's done it before. They're saying exactly the same things they'd said under different accounts before. Speaking about people who are obsessed with me, I reckon definitely the saddest, most pathetic thing someone can do is make up multiple accounts just to try and ask me, here, what am I drinking? It's absinthe. Well, it's lemonade with my favorite red absinthe in it. So we should always have this conversation. I like this maker. I think they're French maker? No, they're Spanish. This is Spanish. Although that name Jacques Sirot sounds very French, this is actually a Spanish absinthe. and they color code their things. There's a green, which is a common color for absinthe. Their green one is 70% alcohol. This red one is 75% alcohol. There's a blue one that's 80% alcohol, and a black one that's 85% alcohol. But I like this because the color is best. The black one, while being really strong, just make drinks turn to mud. This very thing. Is that Laura? Brilliant for a TFU show. Translator tried to stop a lot of. Oh yeah, we talked about. Sorry, you missed. We had that talk about Graham Lenham, who's a piece of shit. Yeah, no, we had that talk about the live stream that raised over $300,000 just to tell that guy to fuck off. No, Antarctica is not the place to go. New Zealand is. Mitchell, I swear, I had a holiday in New Zealand. This was years ago, and my instant thought is this is the place to wait out the nuclear apocalypse. Lots of water, very well. You actually have quite different climate zones across the two islands. It's very temperate, and also because they've had a lot of ground-dwelling creatures, really dumb ground-dwelling creatures introduced. Foxes and rabbits and stoats and possums. They would be a very easy food supply and lots of fresh water. Mark, how many trials do I get? It varies between none and many. I think one of the times when I'd had one of the dickheads make an attack video on me, I think I've blocked as many as 15 accounts in one session. A couple of times I've blocked more than 10 in one session. And it's not 15 people. It's a handful of people, like these sad, obsessive types who set up multiple accounts just to troll. You know, how many Americans we get? It varies. It varies. You've got people from lots of Australians, unsurprisingly, a few Americans, some people from different parts of Europe as well. Yeah, TFL, that Bering, I just ignore. He's a racist. He's a misogynist. He's a liar and a coward. Here from San Francisco. I haven't been there for a little while. I like San Francisco. In fact, San Francisco of the American, I've not been to that many American cities, but San Francisco is the most like an Australian city. And I say that as a good thing. People from Sydney tend to think San Fran's like Sydney. People from Melbourne tend to think it's like Melbourne. But yeah, I found San Fran to be the most like an Australian city, which is a positive thing. Oh, comrade, you're in the Mojave. Nice. I bet it's hot there in summer. Yes, Ruka said, you're a hard cunt that trolls me from your main account and occasionally in person. Mark, I've had a left-wing troll. I have blocked people who are left-wing or say they're left-wing, who are left-wing, just because they were obnoxious and strident and argumentative. And I said, you're getting boring. You need to shut the fuck up. And they didn't. And I blocked them. It's unsurprisingly much less common, but it does happen. People who want to argue with me over something because we differ on something, and they won't shut the fuck up. I always tell people, the sin is being boring. When you're going to be boring and just say dumb shit, you don't have to agree with me. Trying to assert people should always agree with me would be boring. I'd be guilty of being boring. But you sort of say your piece and shut the fuck up, which is another thing about that Graham Lenham idiot, that transphobic moron that was made a fool of by this live stream. That raised $300,000 for a trans support group that he hates. If he would just shut the fuck up, say your piece. But why? But he's obsessed. He is absolutely obsessed. It's bizarre. Comrade, you're an anarchist. I used to hang out with the anarchists when I lived in Sydney, actually. Did you say, Laurie, love San Fran? Oh, that's nice. You're changing your name and using your friend's name as your middle name. That is nice. Mark, am I centre left? No, I'm radical loony left. You know, it's kind of like a person, you know, oh, if we're going to beat climate change, you know, you've got to be vegetarian and you're going to be, no, get fucking real. If you're going to beat climate change, you have to overthrow capitalism. I'm not an authoritarian, but people left to their own devices, or far too many people left to their own devices, will be shitheads. And corporations left unchecked would be, and I mean, sorry, they are unchecked and they're a fucking disaster. Comrade, you're going to democratic socialist or diet ANCOM. Look, I think that's in the ballpark, definitely. Like I said, just hanging out with anarchists. I got a lot of sympathy for the anarchist view of things, which is the non-hierarchical approach. You just can't have really big cities or countries without some form of hierarchy. And I am a believer in democracy, direct democracy even. So yeah, you know, I've never been a member of a political party. Mitchell, should we quit social media because it's antisocial? Our mental health might improve. I say this as someone who's virtually addicted to social media. You'll see me posting a bunch of stuff to Twitter and Facebook most days. Not every day, but most days you'll see me posting a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I think society as a whole could do with less of the social media. I mean, we just see it's become a tool of disinformation, a tool of control. It's all messed up. Oh God, Stella, no, yeah. Anyone who professes to be an Ayn Rand acolyte, no, they're fuckheads. Throw them out straight away. Mark, do I believe in socialism? I guess a lot of how I think things should run has a lot in common with socialism. It's just that the people who form socialist parties and start talking about a socialist system, they tend to be a bit more authoritarian than me. But as I've said, if some cosmic being was foolish enough to give me godlike powers, I'd use them, man. 2/3 of the world's population would be dead in a week. Comrade, that's fair. The history teacher said if you want a stateless, classless society where workers control the means of production, you're an anarchist. That's basically right. Miglic, I also feel like AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, mostly because how she winds people up is fucking brilliant. Love the way she winds. TFL, difference between socialism and national socialism. If you mean as in the Nazi Party, Hitler basically hijacked a workers' party that had formed, mouthing some of the stuff about socialism and workers' rights and whatnot, and basically just hijacked it as a vehicle for his fascist totalitarian ways. So the whole National Socialist label with the Nazis is basically meaningless. It's something that started off as a workers' party that got hijacked by extreme nationalists, and you get people who put that really lame argument, well, the Nazis were actually socialists, which means socialists and Nazis. No, Hitler hijacked something that had started as a workers' party, and the name was basically meaning. It's like people would obsess about names, particularly when they're Americans. They're really like the World Series of baseballs. How many countries in the world are involved in the World Series? Because it's one, And if you think the name of a political party is by definition literally true, then you must think the Democratic Republic of North Korea is both democratic and a republic, and it's neither. Same as the Democratic Republic of the Congo is not democratic or a republic. Totalitarians have this weird habit of adopting political names that's the opposite of what they are. TFL, the national, like I said, the National Socialists started off as the German Workers' Party. Kind of mentioned that a bit earlier. It's like the 100th anniversary of the founding of the German Workers' Party. It did start as like a socialist workers' party. It just got hijacked by fascist nationalists. So the name essentially meant nothing. Yeah, Byron, I think you're on the thing. The more political adjectives someone jams into their name, the worse they're likely to be. Mark, what do I think of the Philippines? I like the Philippines. The current Philippines president is a fucking fascist. And again, not as a term of abuse, he's an extreme right-wing totalitarian who actually advocates for murder. So I don't mean fascist as an insult. I mean as an objective description of what he is. Duterte, or however you pronounce his name, he's fucking garbage. Philippines, I like. Philippine people generally, great. Philippine president, piece of shit. I mean, Fox, you're absolutely right. Hitler would have a bunch of apologists in conservative politics and media. Sorry. But here's the thing: the rise of right-wing populists around the world has made me more of a history reader than I had been. And there's a lot of people say, "Oh, you're throwing around the term Nazi and fascist is over," and it is. But when you look at the Trump regime and say they are literally following the Nazi playbook, that isn't hyperbole. They are literally following the principles of propaganda laid out by Goebbels, like word for word, demonizing the press, creating an enemy that's an other. Uh, it's actually really disturbing the degree to which the rise of Trump parallels the rise of Hitler. I don't think Trump is a Hitler. I don't think he'll maintain that control. Also, he's just been caught up with his petty criminality. That's what's going to bring him down, because he is a criminal. But it isn't hyperbole to say the Trump regime is literally following the Nazi playbook. And so I read a bit more about the rise of the Nazis. And it's weird. Saying Hitler would be excused today. He was excused at the time by media around the world. Like, he served a jail term. And you can find these articles that go, well, Mr. Hitler's been let out of jail and I'm sure he's learned his lesson and he won't do any of those naughty things he was doing before. Oh, and besides, he only said that extreme stuff to play up to the stupid public. He doesn't really believe that stuff about exterminating the Jews. Yes, he does. And his thugs, the brown shirts, who got progressively more and more violent, they were excused by the majority of the media for their actions up to and including murder. They were murdering notably Jewish people, but not just Jewish people. They would murder their enemies in the media as well. And they were being excused by stooges in the media in Germany and around the world. And they were never challenged. They weren't held in check until you eventually got uprisings like Kristallnacht, where they just wholesale went destroying synagogues and Jewish businesses and murdering Jewish people, dragging them out of their houses. So the parallels are really fucking disturbing, quite honestly. That's an interesting one, Laura. Like Hitler got caught during the Munich Putsch. He was a soldier when the guns fired. He dove to the ground and was captured by the cops. Yeah, he kind of learned from all his little setbacks and ended up being absolutely ruthless when it came to seizing power. But yeah, the techniques used by the Nazis in their rise to power we see around the world today with right-wing extremists and populists all over the world, and it's really fucking disturbing. If you look at the rise of right-wing nationalism in Russia, in Ukraine, in Poland, in Greece, all through Europe, through Asia, the Americas. It's really fucking disturbing, quite honestly. The number of extreme right-wing groups increasing in size and power. Mark, I tend to not pay attention to the arguments of the gun lobby in the US because they're quite intelligence insulting. Okay, you want something that might do your head in, because it certainly did my head in when they were willing to go this far. Like, okay, you get these extreme right-wing fuckheads in the US, they want to call themselves alt-right or patriots or Proud Boys or whatever the fuck. They're extremists, and they go about like, you should be able to say anything, like you should be able to promote fascism because free speech. And it's like, well, if it's a bad idea, you can defeat it in the marketplace of ideas. I have actually seen these fucking lunatics to say the Holocaust could have been prevented if Jewish people had logically convinced the Nazis that they weren't bad. The whole problem was that the Jewish people never put compelling logical case to the Nazis to not exterminate them. And honestly, when people are capable of saying something that deranged and that stupid, there's no reaching it. There is absolutely no reaching it. As like, if you're capable of saying something that fucked, then expending any energy on you is a waste of. I'll tell you another weird one. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of image sharing and meme sharing sites. You got Reddit, Imgur, and a bunch of copies of them. I shared this thing. It was a little while ago. She's since died. I found this article that I thought was very interesting. It's this lady, and she's being interviewed. She's quite old. Like I said, she's actually died since this happened. She was a resistance fighter in Poland, and she told the stories like she was a teenager. She was like 14. She got recruited by the resistance to basically she was in Poland, occupied Poland in World War II. The resistance used her and as either a friend or a sister, who was also a teenager, to lure Nazi soldiers like into the forest on the edge of town, you know, with the promise of a kiss. In other words, you know, luring them in with their feminine wiles, and the resistance fighters would kill the Nazis that they lured into the forest. And she did quite a bit of this during the war, luring occupying Nazis into the forest, and the resistance would kill them. And that was popular when I shared it. It was on Imgur, and, you know, meet the front page. Saying there, lots of people saw it, thousands of people saw it, got a lot of comments, and there was more than one commenter, and this seriously fucking disturbed me. There was more than one commenter who said, "Oh, she's a murderer." That they were just soldiers following orders. That wasn't even killing them in combat. That was luring them into the woods and murdering them. She's bad. This was occupying Nazis. These fucking freaks were defending occupying Nazis, saying, no, kill. It's why you got to argue. Why would I waste time arguing with you, like whether those Charlottesville fucking Klansmen with their tiki torches, whether they're fascist Nazis, white supremacists, you're defending them. These guys were defending actual Nazis occupying a country, Nazis who had killed thousands and thousands and thousands of their country people. And these fuckers would, it's like, no. Oh, Laurie, you're calling me out. I did say months ago I'd be working with Mistress M. What happened? We both got busy. But you should call me out because I should get back onto that. Definitely. TFL, do I think Australia Day should be changed? Short answer is yes. And yes, you're onto a winner with May 8. Our national day should be May 8, so we can all go, May 8. Although I tell you what, I did read a good piece. There's a website and Twitter. What do we call it? A channel? It's not a Twitter channel. Twitter account called Indigenous X. That publishes some good stuff, and they published a really interesting piece, and I think The Guardian republished it today or yesterday, but it was originally on Indigenous X, and it was basically, I've given up on the whole change the date thing because that's meaningless. What we have to do is change the country. I might even do this in a video. He made a really good point. His name's Luke Pearson, and he made a really good point. And he said, changing the date is pointless if Australia Day is still this weird jingoistic celebration that denies the actual history of white occupation of this country. And he made some really good points that what we should put more effort into is changing the conversation, changing the way we are in Australia. Stop trying to pretend nothing bad ever happened. The colonizers were fucking genocidal in this country. And it continues to be absolute shit for Indigenous Australians. What we need, changing the country, is a lot more important than changing the day. I mean, we see this bizarre shit. The death throes of the Liberal National Coalition government, they're just determined to do as much dumb shit as they can before we kick them out. And the Scott Morrison's gone, oh, I'm going to dedicate $7 million to have a replica of Captain Cook ship the Endeavour circumnavigate Australia and do all this stuff. and he was on ABC radio, and he said, "Oh, it'll be a great commemoration of Captain Cook's circumnavigating Australia," which is a thing Cook never did. And as I said on Twitter, a lot of people are angry about this, you know, with the whole wasting money and fake history. But I think it's absolutely perfect for this government. They're in complete denial about real history, like the genocidal nature of the occupation, the frontier wars. Yeah, Ms. Foxcation talk about the resistance, which you call a civil war. Indigenous Australians have taken to calling it the frontier wars, which is an amazing story which simply isn't taught. It just isn't taught. The massive resistance of Indigenous Australians, the frontier wars, that's not taught. People try and brush the genocidal nature of the colonisers under the thing. Like, I don't want to leave Australia. I don't want to be held personally responsible for what happened, but trying to pretend this shit didn't happen is ridiculous. So, and Morrison's just taken it one level further from deny actual history to spend $7 million on fake history. It's absolutely ridiculous, but somehow totally fitting for him. He's just, oh my God, there's such a shit show. They're going to get slaughtered at the next election. I can't fucking wait. I'll definitely be doing a live stream on election night and getting shit-faced and just going to town on them, because I reckon they're going to get slaughtered. I think the conservative view is Labor will pick up 20 seats. The more radical view is they could pick up 30 or 40. But even if Labor only picks up 20, like I said earlier, the government's going to lose a bunch of seats to independent conservatives. So they're going to think, Megalich, when is the next election? That is a big question. Hasn't been set yet. It could be as early as March, but I think the latest it can be is May. I don't think it can be any later than May. So sometime in the next couple months. Of course, there's a New South Wales election coming up, which will be first, and the sitting Liberal government is in big trouble. They won't necessarily lose the election, but they're under a lot of pressure. Yes, musical AV. If Scummo lost his seat, it would be hilarious. But the ones I'm looking at, the ones I want to lose their seat, top of the list, Peter Dutton. And he's very high risk of losing his seat. And I reckon Tony Abbott's a real risk as well. Comrade, do we have joke independents like Lord Buckethead? No, but we have this real sad fuck called Clive Palmer who thinks he could be a Donald Trump, and he's just pathetic. He's really pathetic. He's useless. Yeah, it's Foxcation popcorn night on election, definitely. You're judging it by when the fourth season, The Expanse, drops. I haven't seen the third season because I don't think you can see it legally in Australia. I watched the first 2 seasons on Netflix, and it's great. I don't think you can watch the third season of The Expanse legally in Australia. Oh yeah, Byron Dutton is fucking awful. He's just the worst. Yes, Laura, Brexit is. We've all got our shit shows. The US has got Trump. Britain's got Brexit. We've got the Liberals just imploding and eating themselves. It's mad. Yes, comrade, Game of Thrones in April. It's all happening. Megalich is going to be on Prime. I can't subscribe to another fucking thing. I've got Netflix. At some point, I think Stan's got about 3 series I really want to watch. I think they have American Gods. I think they have Preacher. There's one or two others on Stan I really want to see. And because I used to buy, like, if I want a TV series I'd missed, I'd buy the box set. And that's way more expensive than a subscription service. So I realized, I got Netflix because there was a few things I wanted to see on it. Laurie, you're legally changing tomorrow. Congratulations. What more? Once more. Yes, you want to get re-registered to vote. Definitely. Definitely. Because you never know. The fucking Tories are such a shit show in the UK. An election could happen virtually any time. They could lose a no confidence motion and it could be election time. Glad you're staying on top of it. Oh dear. Yeah, comrade, you may be right. The reanimated corpse of Abraham Lincoln may be better than anyone who actually runs. Is it bad if I say I don't want any of the old people to be the Democratic candidate? I don't want Bernie Sanders. I don't want Hillary Clinton. Roberts, I kind of like her. She's a bit older. Beto O'Rourke is kind of weird and funny. Maybe he'd be good. I don't know. But the Democrats seem like they're going to have about 20 potential candidates to run against Bush. But yeah, here's another one should be out. Fucking Joe Biden definitely shouldn't be it. Yeah, Byron, I reckon Elizabeth Warren has potential. A lot of people like Kamala Harris and a lot of people don't. It'll just be interesting to see who the Democrats put up, quite honestly. Yeah. Oh, comrade, Mitt Romney's fucking useless. Like he spent all that ages speaking out against Trump. Great. But then when Trump was in power, he sucked up to him. There's that great meme. Absolutely beautiful. Like people will say, can you say something good about Trump? Go, well, he made the Republican Party his bitch. The Republican Party machine threw everything they had at Trump and they failed everything. They failed everything. And notably, Mitt Romney, who'd spoken out against Trump again and again and again. And then when Trump had power, he went and had that dinner with Trump. And there was those pictures of Trump with a huge shit-eating grin. And Romney looking around smiling in a really awkward way. And the meme was Trump saying to Romney, tell them your name. And Romney saying, my name is Reek, which is a great Game of Thrones meme. But anyway. Yeah, Rook is an inanimate carbon rod could be a good candidate. Anywho, look, I am going to go to bed because I potentially have a big day at work tomorrow, and I need to be a little bit bright for it. I think they're expecting me to have one thing done, and I've got two things done. So hopefully I end up looking like a star at work tomorrow. If they're expecting me to have these two things done, then I'm just performing to expectations. But I think they only expect me to have one done. So when I have twice as much done, they'll be like, oh my God, this guy's fucking amazing. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. So I had a really good night tonight. Thank you all for your company. Hope to see you again soon. Look after yourselves in the meantime. Because if you don't look after yourself, who will? Yeah. So hopefully see you all again soon. Take care. And I will say bye for now.